Hello, hello, hello. And now that we're deep, we in this 2026 now. We in it. Okay, we in it now. And welcome to the Femside Podcast, hosted by Coco the host, myself, and bitch don't kill my vibe, okay? Cause I'm over here setting goals and accomplishing exactly what I set out to do. Kudos to me and kudos to you because I'm sure you are doing the same thing, Pookie. Proud of you. And I am. So today on the second segment of the Femside podcast, I want to discuss the all the different variations of partnerships, right? So when people think of a partnership, often people use the word or the terminology I desire to have a partnership, not being clear or setting the standard of how they identify what they see a partnership to be. Often, how you see a partnership or what you assume in a partnership, how it should show up, is based off a dynamic that is learned, that is seen. But if you understand that everyone has a different perspective because everyone learned growing up in a different environment, different aspects, different home life, different relationships, structures, even if your parents were married for 30 years and my parents were married for 30 years, how those parents handle conflict or disagreements or associate with each other is going to be different. And we learn from experience in our environments, right? So when you think of a partnership, you're speaking of being aligned with your partner, you need to be clear with what you're asking for. We're talking about, hey, I want this, I want that, but we're not being clear about what we're asking for. You know, when they say when you talk to God, you got to be careful what you pray for. You got to be careful what you ask for. You got to be careful when you say a partnership, define partnership. You may get exactly a partnership and not the partnership that you desire. It may not show up in the way that you wanted it to, but you had a partner in crime, shoot, in laughter, in love, in time, hell, and sex. You had a partner, baby, but you did not have the partnership that you desire. So make it plain and make it clear, right? When we're talking about femmes, because that's what we are. Hey, ladies. When we're talking about femmes, often femmes that are independent or that are good to stand on their own when trying to enter a partnership with a mass presented woman or another femme, and because femmes do it too to other femmes, they have a desire of you to be more complacent, seen, less heard, right? That's not a necessarily ideal partnership for most people who struggle with survival or struggle with being independent for long amount of time. And for someone to depend on you or fully trust you to lead, they have to know that you're accountable and that they can trust you to lead. That takes time, that takes negotiation, that takes understanding, that takes patience. That is not something that just happens. Okay? That is not something that just happens. Okay? So it's a conversation that has to happen for a series amount of time before you get to that point where you understand and you just move like clockwork. You cannot just say, hey, let me handle this when you haven't shown and proved that you can handle this over a set amount of time, and you expect me as a person who's always handled it myself to allow you to handle it without you showing me over time that I can trust you to handle it respectfully. Your grandmother was tough on your grandfather before he just started doing things. That's why that man don't know where his socks is unless that woman puts them there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? So, uh, each partner should have a say-so in the outcome of the partnership. All right, hold up, wait a minute. Let me repeat it. Each partner should have a say-so in the outcome of the partnership. I don't care who makes more money. I don't care who owns more property. I don't care who looks pretty. I don't care about none of those dynamics. If you do not have a mutual agreement with your partner on the dynamic of the partnership, if both parties can't have a say so, then you will not be aligned. If both parties can't have a say so, not only just a say so, but know how the machine operates. The machine being your relationship, being your household, being how you take care of the children, the finances. If both parties don't know how things are ran, then when the party that everything falls on, the person who has to be the sole proprietor, when everything falls through, okay, when that party can't do it anymore, they can't keep things running anymore, and you don't know what to do now. You like, well, baby handled all the finances. I don't know how she did it. That's not a partnership. And anything can happen to any of us, especially in the LGBT community where the laws are not always in our best interests. Unless you're legally married, just being with your partner and having their best interests at heart is not enough legal protection if something was to happen and they were incapacitated or however. And then you're just left in the dark because you didn't know how things were managed. If you were appropriate beneficiary, there was no living will, there's no preparation. You're not prepared to take on to continue the legacy that you built with this person. The partnership is lax because you don't know how to be an equal partner. Even if that's not your role, you should still know how the bread is baked. Does that make sense? So even if you're not the breadwinner, you should still know how to manage what is given to you. Okay? Be women of multiplication, not division. Okay? So whatever is given to you or comes in your household, whether it's income, food, or people, you need to know what all of those aspects require, need, and how they're managed, even if you're not the one managing them. So that way you can handle whatever needs to be done if anything was to change. You know all her financial institutions. You know how the mortgage is paid. You know how the rent is paid. You know how the car payments paid. You know who your car insurance is with. You don't just sit there and be pretty and be like, I don't know, she handled it. I get it. But you can trust her to handle it if you know what's being handled, right? So oftentimes you may have heard scary stories about women lying about their finances or what they have or pretending, and then you just in the dark, just depending on them, and out of nowhere, now they tell you like, hey, I don't have what we thought I have, and and they're like, oh, well, you just with me for my money. No, I'm not with you for the money, but you should be honest about what you have. And if you can't be honest with your partner because you're afraid that they won't be able to depend on you or count on you, then you have to look at the partnership that you're in. Ooh, you got to look at the partnership that you're in because, baby, it takes a team. It takes a village, and most households take more than one income. And if you make enough income that you could take care of us, then the least I can do is manage the books. The least I can do, even if you manage the books because that's your preference, I should know how the books are managed. I should know what gets paid when gets paid when. It's not just about cooking and cleaning. If you wanted a maid and a housekeeper, baby, we can hire one. But if you wanted a partner to establish a legacy, that's what I am here for. I'm here to multiply whatever you need to build. I'm here to add to whatever you have to offer. Okay? Listen, we can hire housekeeping. You cannot just hire a partner in this relationship to bring forth whatever you vision your legacy to be, whether it had children or it did not. We could have a village of dogs. Okay? And if you want this land to be taken care of and kept up, I need to know what goes into that. I would say one of the most romantic things I've ever seen was an elderly woman that I took care of as a home health aide. I did that part-time overnight. But this time I went in to get overtime for a day shift, right? And her regular home health aide was unavailable. So This lady, she had, they had lands, and it was beautiful. You was pull into the driveway, and it was several houses in this driveway. Several houses in this driveway. Now, her house was the front house, and her children's homes were built behind her home. And it was all set up by her husband. Now, he is now passed, and she's still here. And he set it up so that way her and their children and their grandchildren would be sustainable, right? That man prepared his family, his legacy for his absence. That is a true leader. That was the most romantic thing I've ever seen in my life. That you are not just providing for me in life, but after life. Because life still continues when you're not in it. And don't work yourself to the grave either, because I still need you to be a partner in this life that we're in. I need us to have preparations to take care of our family and sustainable, whether you're here or you're not here, right? Because now his home health aid that he would get from the VA is now transferred to her, and their land is now transferred to her. They automatically have retirement accounts, brokerage accounts and managed accounts that pay their bills without her having to lift a finger. Without her having to lift a finger, without her having to call anyone, the bills are getting paid. She can literally make an appointment at all her doctors, her insurance, everything is managed. For the most part, all she has to do is eat and make sure there's food in the house. But as far as the land, her bills, her livelihood is covered, right? And her kids, they're grown, and they own the property, and their kids are, grown now, and they're also can be on the property and benefit from this land for generations to come, and know that they always have a home to come to, right? And so be prepared to sustain the legacy that you desire. So often I talk about, I don't want children. Now, wait a minute, pause. Okay, so no, I don't want children, but I didn't say I don't like children. I love children. If you see me with my nieces and nephews, like, I love kids. Whether they big kids, they little kids, I love the kids. Don't get me wrong. But I feel as though it'd be selfish of me to have children if I can't give them the life that I would desire for them to have. If I can't provide for them, even if I'm not around. I'm not in that space. I just don't desire to struggle, right? So I say that as an example. If you are going to say that, hey, I want to provide this life and this livelihood, what does that look like? What does that mean to me? These are things, now that worked for that relationship and that marriage, and that was romantic to me. That may not be what you need. You may not even require that much sustainability, and that's fine. These are rules that are established in your partnership by you and your partner. By you and your partner. Only you and your partner need to be aligned in the plan. And the plan can change. You have to be adaptable. The plan can change. What needs to always happen is communication. So whenever the plan changes or you feel uncertain about the plan or the direction of the plan, both parties need to have a say-so. Neither party should be able to move without consulting with the other party. I don't care who makes more. Talk to your teammate. Work with your teammate as a team, not as a dictator. Okay, because masculine women love to tell people what to do, whether they are, have it all together or not. Because what you chose this person or you chose this partner because they were smart, right? They were ambitious. They had something to offer. You didn't just choose me, I chose you. So we chose each other. So what attributes did you choose your person on? And why would you not also consider that when getting their say-so for any plans that have to include both of you? A lot of times everybody wants to wear the pants. Everybody wants to be in control, but that is not a relationship. not one that is built off love, trust, and sustainability. It's not a partnership if there's only one person leading. I want a leader that can lead me and respect the fact that I'm a leader as well, and include me in the plans and decisions, and respect my knowledge and my education and my experience and my background. Because listen, I done had more jobs than a little bit. As y'all get to know me, baby, one thing I will say is I stay employed, okay? I've had more careers than a little bit. My resume is extensive, okay? I've been working in finance for over 8 years, okay? But I listen, and one thing about me, I'm a jack of all trades. So if I ever need to make an extra dollar, I am not opposed to it. I will go out there and get it, okay? Go out there and get it. And I need a woman that's just as adaptable as I think you do too. Because who doesn't want someone that's adaptable? If you're fixed, if you're like a rock, then you can't absorb anything new. I need a woman that's a sponge. I need a woman that's been through some things, that's adaptable, that can learn, that can offer, something new. And know that when life happens, she doesn't sit and cry about it. She's prepared to make a plan and a solution, and we going to work as a team to figure it out and execute it. Listen, don't that sound good? Do we have that in 2026? I hope we do. I hope we do, because I know it sounds good to you, because it sounds good to me. It feels good in my soul when you actually can be aligned with somebody and you can consider each other's feelings, okay? Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what my next episode is going to be. I don't want to give you too much, but it's been on my heart, but I kind of want to ease on our way to it. So the next segment, I would like to talk about what studs mean when they consider femmes to be too aggressive. Because being a Black woman and a person of color and a lesbian, a feminine lesbian that is intelligent, that is capable, that is independent, oftentimes I get categorized as being aggressive if I disagree or I don't just go with the flow that is given to me. And I know I'm not alone. Oh, ladies, I know I'm not alone. I'm telling you, if you are a strong woman or a strong-willed woman and an independent woman, listen, people love to call you aggressive, especially as a Black woman. They throw the word around like it doesn't have a meaning, but it does, and it hurts a bit when you hear it. Because I'm not aggressive. There's nothing aggressive about me. I'm not giving you back and forth. I'm not starting an altercation. I'm not, trying to force anything on you. I'm not doing that. I'm just not agreeing with you. Having a say-so and having an opinion does not make me belligerent nor aggressive. You dated me and you came into my life because you appreciated what I had to offer, but now you're not utilizing what I have to offer and you want me to be complacent, and that is not fair. So we're going to talk about the word aggressive. And the reason we're going to start with that the next segment, because I really feel like us femmes deserve to have our say-so. Okay. And then I want to talk about the different types of femmes, because there are different type of masculine women, because we are all women. No one should be the same or compared or competing to be a certain way. Like, we don't have to be no labels just to be feminine. We are feminine, and we have so many different variations of being feminine, as we do have so many different variations of being Black, of being lesbians, of being women. And I want us to have the freedom to do so without being restrained or conflicted by other people's standards and viewpoints. Who says I'm not feminine enough? I'm soft, I'm pretty. I love things that are glittery, floral, and shiny. I love to be sweet on my person. Who says I'm not feminine enough? So we're going to talk about all of this in the next segment. So I see you when? tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so keep looking for these videos. I'm going to keep putting them out. I will try to let you know in advance if I need a little breaky break, but it's still I can get into the rhythm of this. I plan on being consistent. And I thank you so much for tapping in to the Femside podcast. For right now, we're just 20-minute segments. But going forward, we may get longer. But I just want to give you a little taste of what to expect this year. All right. But thank you so much for tapping in with me. If you want to give me any questions or be a participant of the show, you want me to read your stories or your point of view, feel free to inbox me. I have set up the Femside Instagram, the Femside TikTok. I did set up the Facebook. I'm still working through it because I don't use Facebook enough. But my TikTok and my Instagram, I've been consistent to check daily. So thank you so much for your engagement this year. I greatly appreciate you along this journey. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. All right.